Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on our webinar about using content and revenue management principles in challenging times. Well, with most leisure trips as well as business trips being on a global standstill, we wanted to take some time and share some strategies with you on how to best make adaptions for today's situation and also how to best prepare for the eventual lift in restrictions and an uplift in travel. As a short technical side note, I just wanted to mention that we are recording today's session and we'll then be sharing this with all the participants here today. So please feel free to share it forward as well. You can ask questions via the chat functionality, which you should find on the right-hand side of your screen. So please feel free throughout the presentation to add in your questions, and we will be addressing them at the end in our 10-minute Q&A session. Now, let me start by presenting you my webinar partner for today, which is Birgit Haake. Birgit is the Managing Director of Haake Revenue for You and is a top revenue management expert, and she is sharing some of the key revenue management principles in challenging times with you today. My name is Kristen Hensel. I'm director at h2c, and at h2c we support hotel chains in their quality assurance processes as well as in any strategic projects in terms of distribution technology. So we are excited to have you all on board today and to share some of the content with you today. This is what we have planned today. I will start with going through and mentioning some content alignments that we suggest, and then Birgit will take over and share some of the revenue management principles with you. As I already mentioned, we have a 10-minute Q&A session at the end, so please feel free to ask any questions then. So let's start and have a look at the content alignments. First of all, looking at some of the news reports and some of the analysis ongoing, we see that while there is not people not being able to travel today, they are already starting to research for their next destination, and they're already consuming a lot of travel content. So now is definitely your time to make the updates and make sure to display the correct information. I would first of all like to start with some of the best practices for the content updates for the brand website as well as the hotel website. Well, with the current situation, there's definitely a chance to positively affect the booking patterns of the travelers and thereby, and I'm sorry for travelers, with this situation today, we can use this opportunity to really affect the customer to get them to book via more direct booking channels. So if your property had to close due to Corona, make sure to highlight this information on various sites of your website. The potential travelers, they access your website via various different landing pages. So the relevant content should ideally be loaded on different access points as well, on different landing pages. And definitely a general note is great. However, adding information on the individual hotel pages is even better, because the information or the updates might differ country to country or even region to region. So if you're providing your traveler with the all the information that you have, that is definitely a key benefit. If your hotel is closed, make sure to also use the correct wording. So we would recommend to use suspended or temporarily not accepting guests, so that you're not confusing the guests by, for example, implying that you're closed completely. If you have timelines, make sure to add them in the information here as well. And if that is not possible because, for example, the government has not shared any guidelines, make sure to add that information as well, so you're providing all the information to your customers. Also very important is to share reassuring information, for example here about hygiene measures with your guests, because travelers are going to be more conscious about all of these things even after the lockdowns are lifted. So definitely make sure to mention this as well. The same advice really applies to the closure of any hotel facilities as well. Um, Add some information about alternatives maybe. So if you have your restaurants closed, maybe there's extended room service options that you offer. So make sure that you display that information on your website, because on the OTAs you are limited in terms of what you can really display. So here your website can really outperform the OTAs. As I already mentioned, on most OTAs, they don't really allow you to offer or to display any free text information. So be creative. For example, here on the right-hand side, you can see that A&O hotels, they started by adding little icons on their images in order to inform the guests about their newest hygiene information. Furthermore, make sure that you update your closures for certain facilities in the extranet as well. The OTAs then also offer you some fine print sections where you can add some information, so make sure to use that as well. And don't forget about the GDSs. Travel agents and business travelers should really also receive all that information about any facility closures or any added hygiene measures. So there's two areas where you can update your content, and the first one would be in the HODs, which you can see in the top screen here. These screenshots are from Amadeus, and Amadeus, for example, displays the hotel location description first, so you might want to add a short sentence about the corona situation there as well. Sabre, for example, displays the property description first, so make sure to add that information there. Another opportunity that is possible is to add information in the free marketing message that you have available. And you can see an example here in the second screenshot where you can add information about closures or hygiene measures that are being taken. This should be possible for all hotel chains that have their own chain code, as well as some CRSs also offer that possibility, even if you're using a global chain code. Also, one should not forget social media as part of your content strategy. Make sure to highlight the USPs of your hotels so that you can build brand awareness and you're staying in contact with your guests. Now, I wanted to touch on something maybe more for the future. If you have the time available now, make sure to review your room descriptions and have a look if you can differentiate your hotel from competitors so that they can stand out and that they are better set up also for upselling. We at h2c, we constantly check multiple room descriptions from various brands, and unfortunately, it's not always easy to differentiate between the room types. And even on the OTAs, it's sometimes hard to understand how one room type is better in terms of the other, or why the customer has to pay more. So we have outlined some possible optimizations here. The first one would be to have a look at the sequencing of your amenities. So in what order are you displaying your amenities? And make sure to highlight and list the more important or the more outstanding features higher than, for example, more of the standard features. So as an example would be to list balcony higher than the shower. Also make sure that you mention the maximum occupancy per room, because guests have become used to seeing this information on the OTAs. you should ideally make sure to offer this information on the website as well, so that the customer can really better understand how many people are possible in the bedroom, and whether a third person would receive a sofa bed or would be sleeping in the existing bedding. And last but not least, we have here the optimization to showcase your distinguishing room features. So figure out what really sets your room type apart from another, and then display them separately so that a customer looking at it can quickly see why he needs to pay 20 or 50 euros more for a particular room type. I would also like to use the opportunity today to quickly mention h2c's global hotel booking engine and meta search study. After we conducted our CRM study last year, we are now focusing on the IBE and meta search channels this year. And we will be investigating whether the corona situation changes the booking behavior, and also how your IBE could convert more OTA shoppers into direct bookers. So if you have some free time, we would really appreciate if you could take the time for a telephone interview or by taking our online survey. As a thank you, you would then receive your own executive summary. And last but not least, if you require any support with your OTA and meta search channel updates, let us know. We have created a single source for third-party content management systems, and please feel free to contact us at any time for any further information. And with that, I would like to hand over to Birgit, and she will be talking about some of the revenue management principles.
So thank you very much, Christine, and hello everybody from my side. Yes, as Christine already mentioned, the coronavirus presents a big challenge for all of us. Much is still uncertain, but it's certainly worse than we hoped. Now I like to start with some key figures. SDR figures of last week shows that the occupancy declined significantly around the world. Here are some examples of occupancy changes versus last year until March 21st. We see ranges from -96% decline in Italy to -30% decline in Qatar. And we do not have reached the bottom yet. Since many hotels are currently closed, the declines will increase within the next 2 weeks. And then furthermore, SDR sees changes in RevPAR in the last 28 days by -18% in St. Petersburg to 80% in Rome. By the way, Paris is -50% and Germany -44%. And as we know, Europe is about 1 month behind the Chinese travel trends. So revenue management, or rather accurate predictions, are a challenge in these times. So everybody knows the common description of revenue management, of the revenue management goal. The goal is to charge the right price to the right customer, to the right product, to the right channel at the right time. Doing this well is not easy as it looks, and as experienced revenue manager will attest, it doesn't look all that easy. So don't worry, this webinar is not a basic lesson in revenue management, but this simple sentence helps you to focus on new opportunities. Let's start with the right product. It is necessary to reflect and consider what your guest wants. What are your unique selling propositions? You should focus on product and services that are hard to imitate. Develop packages and bundles that add value to the consumers without costing the hotel too much. But not only for your guest rooms. Think about your function space. There are new concepts for meeting and events are required, and therefore are opportunities like combine online and on-site meetings opportunities. Use special booking conditions as well. And it's important communicate the benefits, especially on the first page of your website. What does the service product means for your guests? Remember, service value is the foundation of price, and the balance of value and price is the key for each hotelier to improve the competitive advantage and broaden revenue streams. So, in terms of the right price, avoid dropping price and unqualified discounting. During this current period, price sensitivity is different than it is normally would be. Demand is simply not there. Basically, people will not travel if they think there is a risk, even if the price is very attractive. Review your competitive pricing positioning in terms of offering value. Divided your rate strategy by booking horizon and consider it for the next 60 to 90 days and then beyond 90 days. Within the next 60 days, I would recommend do not drop rates with more discounts or set more restriction or cancellations. It's important to communicate measures and improve confidence. Beyond 90 days, focus on your competitive set and market trends to make appropriate adjustment to your pricing strategy and keep an eye on your competitors' reaction. Exclude competitors driving down rates or display erratic pricing behavior. Again, focus on your service value. Show your customer when you offer a discount or promotion. Consumers are often not aware that you have declined the rates. They do not monitor room prices like share prices on the stock market. So Booking and Amazon know how to present the benefit and discount in an advantageous way. It's important to mark discounts and cross out regular prices on your website. Most IBEs are able to implement and display discounts accordingly. In terms of time, channel, and consumer and customer, have different pricing and distribution strategies for different booking horizons in place. Have one for short term, for mid-term, and long term, and always review them regularly. At the moment, OTAs are currently outperforming each other in terms of promotion and campaigns. Consider carefully whether the promotion fits your pricing strategy or whether you are cannibalizing business. Consider again the demand and price sensitivity. Use special booking condition, advantages for direct bookings, and use opportunities, for example, your customer services versus the customer services of the OTAs, especially at the moment when it comes to cancellation and postpone the booking. Forecasting is the heart of revenue management, but currently forecasting is like driving on site or like Bob's weather forecasting stone, where current condition is equal forecasting. We cannot longer use historical trends and pattern as a reference for forecasting future demand, especially for the next month. And we need to isolate these periods retrospect. Monitor the daily pickup, it's important. And monitor the daily pickup for each day within the next 120 days and beyond. Even pickup is less currently. For hotels which are using high performance revenue management system automations, the system will do. And pay close attention on postponed events and allotments once the government restrictions are lifted and people start traveling. For sure, experts are convinced recovery will take longer compared to other crises like SARS or global financial crisis. They expect a recession. And for sure, guest behavior has changed within the 2 weeks, and it will have an impact on future travel. I assume independent and domestic travel starts first, but the lead time will be shorter, and guests will still be cautious and want to be flexible. So protect your public rates and differentiate these rates from your restricted rates. Large group travel is difficult and it will only slowly recover. Again, think about new concepts for smaller meeting groups. So as a summary, be proactive, focus on pragmatic customer-centered services, take the current and the recent trend to do the forecast, monitor daily pickup, booking pace, review your demand forecast, and avoid dropping prices. And again, it's important communication of service value to build confidence. Also, it's currently very difficult. Look for future opportunities. Invest in trainings, review processes within your hotel. Use your technology now to gain a competitive advantage in good times to come. So, thank you very much from my side. I will hand over to Christine for the Q&A session.
Great. Thank you, Birgit, for your insights. So please feel free, everyone, to go to the chat functionality on the right-hand side on your screen and drop there any questions that have come up throughout the webinar. We already have a first question, Birgit, for both of us.
Okay.
What is the most important measure that you would undertake now or today?
In terms of, I can't see the question, so can you?
Yeah, it's about what would you, if you, I mean, you mentioned a lot of things that you can do. What would you do first every day?
To look on the booking behavior, because at the moment, as I mentioned, we are driving on site. We don't know what's going on. We can't use any historical pattern, so we have to start from zero and see what the customers are doing. And there will be a change in the travel in the guest behavior. Once the government's restrictions lift and people start to travel, I assume that people then start traveling and take short-term breaks and use hotels.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and from my side, I completely agree. Monitor the situation daily, but definitely the first step would be to make sure that all your content is updated and is reflecting the current situation. We looked through, in preparation for this webinar, through various OTA and GDS pages for some hotel chains. And there are still some areas, definitely, for example, most definitely in the GDSs, where some information is still missing. So make sure to reflect all of that there, and then take it day by day, and take the time to review your content if you have that time. Okay. Any further questions? This one is for you, I believe, Birgit. It's if forecast is the heart of revenue management and it is possible to forecast in this situation, how can we manage our revenue management? Is there any outlook on demand trends available that we can hold on to?
I mean, I would recommend to use the offers in the industry. There are every week there are a lot of there's a webinar or several webinars from STR. They have figures over the globe, and at the moment you can't compare anything from crisis in the past, because even the SARS crisis many years ago, the declines of occupancy was less than today. So at the moment it's very hard to have this. It's to take, and the behavior depends on the business mix, on the location of the hotel. So at the moment, to focus on the pickup and the recent trend. It's my recommendation.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, that seems to be all the questions that we have for today. Please feel free to contact Birgit and myself at any time going forward for any further questions that maybe come up, also from your colleagues. You have our contact details here. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we have recorded this webinar, so we will be sharing this recording with you. And yeah, that leaves me to say again, thank you very much for joining. We wish you all the best. Yes?
Christine, I have to interrupt you because I have seen two more questions right now.
They,
to me, that is, how did hotels recover after September 11 or terrorist attacks? What learning should we keep in mind? And the other one is which the current report you have shared on occupancy declines in individual countries? Which country do you suggest to target now to push our digital marketing campaign, for example? I would recommend, because at the moment I took a summary of STR global figures. What I would recommend, go on their page and on their website, and there are several webinars on figures, and I would recommend and you can see your country and get an overview of all the hotel markets, and then you maybe find the answer for especially for your hotels.
Okay, I hope that answered the questions.
Otherwise, please send me an email, so I will get in touch with you directly.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. With that, I apologize for missing those questions, but thank you, Birgit. And yeah, thank you again for joining, and we wish you all the best, and stay in contact. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much from my side. Bye-bye.